Hi. Hi. In part 2 of this video, we're going to continue and now verify that we have a Windows share that can be accessed through Windows, Linux, Unix, and Mac, and it's managed through an Active Directory security group. So a quick recap of what we've done so far. We have a security group in AD. It's called Elaine as a member. So if we look at the group in Unix, it has this marketing-share-access name with 99998 as a GID. At the same time, we've also created a role for Elaine because she doesn't know the root account and she should not know it, but she should have the ability to mount that share. So we're first going to start with going in and doing it through Linux. So first and foremost, let's verify that the role is working right. So we've created a role for her, and we provided her with the ability to SSH in and run the mount command as root. So let's go ahead and take it for a ride. So if I do DZ info, notice that it matches the role that I've created here. So the user Elaine has SSH access only, as well as the mount command that she can run as root. I've actually put the mount command that I'm going to use, and notice that we're not using clear text password here. So we're doing a CIFS mount through our server, and in this particular case I got to make a modification here because we don't want to make a mistake, and that will be marketing. And we're going to mount it in mount share, ultimately we're going to use Kerberos, and this will be the UID GID that is going to be used. We've also set up some sections for masking and file mode as well as directory mode. So we want to make sure now what we're going to do. We're gonna just copy this to memory, so we have to do a lot of typing, and we're gonna do a DZ do. And we're going to go ahead and paste that command. It's going to ask me for my AD password. And it sounds like everything is okay. So my file share has been mounted. So let's go ahead and go to the mount share. And if I list the files, there's no files here. And we can actually start looking at it also at the file system level. So there's no files in the marketing share. So let's go ahead and touch a file. So let's do a touch Elaine.txt. And if I notice that the file just popped up, if I VI the file, and this file belongs to Elaine. And if we take a look at the system, let's verify that people that should not have access to the share doesn't have access. So let's take a look. So if I cat the file, the file has that in text in here as well in here. So everything looks good, is looking great. Let's take a look who can access the system. So let's do AD query user. So we have Cosmo. So Cosmo is not a member of that marketing group. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if Cosmo has access to do that. So we want to make sure that somebody that does not have access to that group. Let's take a look at the memberships here. So the marketing share access, right now the members are, this is right here, are Elaine, Peterman, and George. So if I log in as Cosmo, and I go on to that share, notice that I can see the file. I can list contents of the file because that's the permissions that I actually set up the Unix file system. But if I touch, you will see that Cosmo doesn't have access to do that. He can see the context of Elaine's file, but that's by virtue of the way I've set up the permissions in the Unix side. So yeah, we can make sure that people that shouldn't have access in this case can't write. An improvement that I can do is maybe just make sure that when I set up the permissions, that when I do this share, that is not marked as everybody can actually read and write. So that's an improvement that can be done to this particular scenario right here. Let's take a look on the Windows. So if we go to a Windows machine, and I have already logged in as Elaine here, notice that, you know, if I do a browse, so let me just enable the run command right here. I like to use shortcuts here, so let's do the run command. It's already enabled, so let's go ahead and just run, and it would be app 1 marketing. You know, I have the ability to go in here, and this will be so this is coming from Windows. And the cool thing is, if I look at the file system in Unix Linux, I should be able to see that the end user's permissions are basically the same. So if I look at the let's take a look in here as Elaine. If I look at Elaine's ID, notice that she has that long UID with GID. If I list the files, they are you know, they are owned by Elaine Benes, and the group is Marketing Share Access, so anybody in the Marketing Share Access will have read write. And if I look at you know, at the numbers, you can see that this actually matches right here with the UID of Elaine. And if I look at the GID of the group, you will see that the group owner matches the 9998 GID for the group as well. So this is working as expected. So the third scenario would be to access through a Mac OS. So I've logged in as Elaine in this Mac OS device here. So let's go ahead and log in. And if I SMB, so in this case, I will probably not be able to get the group ownership because my identity here is in AutoZone, so I get auto private. But let's take a look anyway. And if I do marketing, I should get SSO because, you know, we're Centrify here, so I can take a look at these files normally. And let's just create a text file here. And I guess on the Mac, I just basically have to just use text edit. So let's go ahead and launch that. Maybe a copy. Let's duplicate this guy and call it Elaine. Let's go ahead and maybe change the name, right? Or from Mac. And now let's see if I can rename it. Duplicate all of that one. Maybe I can rename it from here. Or sounds like in this heavily virtualized environment, I'm not getting the right touch to do a rename. But we know that the file is ElaineWinCopy.txt. Let's take a look from the Unix side and take a look at the differences. So if I do ls-l in here, Notice that I have Elaine when copy, and you know, in this case we retain the actual, you know, share and ownership here. So this is pretty cool from that perspective. So basically this particular example, what allows me to do is to limit access based on AD group memberships to a CIFS share and non-Windows platforms, including the Unix, Linux, or a Mac, and I can continue to use the same management model that I use on Windows. So this is pretty useful, and regardless of you using a Unix server or even an appliance like a filer, this will actually work. The key thing here is that you need to get the unified identity, and with Active Directory and Centrify you get the Kerberized tool, so you need to use clear text passwords, you get SSO, and you adhere to proper security practices by providing people just what they need, like we did with Elaine, that she has the mount command. One thing that I did not give her was the umount command, so those are improvements that we could do. And also maybe we can do an improvement in which we do a use case that we do auto mount of their home directory based on the home directory on Windows. That will be another one that I would actually can do in the future. So hopefully this works for you guys, and you know, we do this in one take, one shot, so feels more natural, and let's hope this works for you guys.